Welcome to the Breakthrough Your Profit Ceiling podcast. I'm your host, Janet Fish. In this episode, I create a mini business plan. So in my 16 years of being a business coach, I've coached over 1,000 clients in 16 different countries. And during that process, I developed a 10-step plan to launch or grow your business. But I've been hearing from a lot of my clients recently that they would like a mini business plan that they can just jump right into and execute right away. Just a short, kind of specific list of steps to either launch or grow their business. So I sat down and I compiled a list of my best stuff. 6 steps that I felt were the most important to starting your business or to taking your business to the next level. So this is a high-level overview of the 6 steps. There are links below in the show notes if you want to take a deeper dive. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you get great value from the 6 steps. And if you've got comments or questions, please email me at janet@breakawayllc.com. Enjoy the show. Hey, and welcome to this episode of the Breakthrough Your Profit Ceiling podcast. I am your host, Janet Fish. And today I want to talk a little bit about how to build like a business plan or just a way to look at your business in a way that focuses on the steps you need to take to kind of take your business to the next level, to grow your business, or if you're just starting out to start your business. You know, I talk a lot to a lot of entrepreneurs about the different processes and the steps to take to build a business or grow a business. And I was just thinking, why don't I take all those kind of steps and put them together in this one podcast episode, just to kind of bring it all together in a way that it just leads step by step by step. So I'm just going to start rambling on about my thoughts along these lines, and hopefully you will find this beneficial. So the first place I always start is understanding and knowing who your target market is. And so who's your target market or your ideal client is always the place to start. And so I want to talk about it in a number of ways. And I've done this before, but I just want it to start because, like I said, I want to take you through the steps. And it always starts here. So the way to define your ideal market or ideal client or target market is to really look at the demographics. So age, gender, location, all of those things that are the income level, all those things that are the demographics that determine who your target market is. You just need to start there. And then layer on that their interests and their mindset or psychographics, the way they think and the things they're interested in. So that's the next layer of defining who your target market is. And then the next layer is the answer to these 2 questions. And that is, what's the problem that I solve and how do I uniquely solve it? And when I talk about the problem that you solve, that is the challenge. That is, what do you do to help people out of their uncomfortable place, the place that they no longer want to stay in? And I talk about that because people buy to solve a problem more readily than they buy because it's a nice to have. I will reference back to the episode I did on aspirin versus vitamin marketing. I go into more depth there, but I really feel strongly that people buy to solve a problem that they have, to overcome a challenge that they have. And so I encourage you to, in addition to in demographics and psychographics and interests, but to really hone in on what's the problem that I solve and how do you uniquely solve it so that they're buying from you, not buying from somebody else. So that's the first thing, the first step along the way. The second thing I would talk about is creating a great product or service that solves that particular problem. I was on a Zoom call earlier today, and we were talking. One of the women that was on the call she doesn't have an offer. She solves a problem, but she doesn't have anything to sell. Like if you don't have a product or a service that someone can buy from you for X number of dollars and it looks like this, then you don't have anything to sell. You don't have a business. So create a great product or service that solves the problem that people have, that serves the target market that you just identified. So have a great product and know exactly what it is and what it costs. Because you're going to get into conversations with people and they're going to get to the point where they're like, yes, I need what you have. And you're going to be like, hubby, I don't know what to sell, right? Have a product or a service that is well defined. You get this, it looks like this, and it's X number of dollars. How do you want to pay? So second step is to have great products that serve your market. My pet passion. Okay, we all know that I am passionate about email marketing, and we'll talk about that in a second because I'll always get there. But before that, I'm also super passionate about having a written down marketing plan. Like marketing is 80% of what you should be doing in your business. Marketing is the thing that drives clients to you. Marketing is the only way people know who you are and find you and give you money. So marketing is just the cornerstone of what we do in our business. And I talk a lot about, there'll be a reference to an episode I did on marketing. But I talk a lot about it, like having defined marketing strategies written down, that you know exactly what you're going to do in order to get new clients, in order to engage with people, to get their name and email address. So we'll talk about that in a second. To get on the phone with you to talk about buying your product, to engage with you via social media, to come to a webinar, to listen to you speak. All of those ways that you talk to people. For me, it's my podcast. Like you're listening to this podcast, I'm finding you. That's a marketing strategy for me. I'm finding you through my podcast. Hopefully you love what you hear and you want to learn more, and you come and follow me on Instagram, or you get on my email list and you learn more, and maybe we get on the phone together and maybe we do some work together. Maybe you allow me to serve you to get you where you really want to go in your business. That's what marketing is all about, to move people from not even knowing who you are to knowing who you are, to understanding what you provide, to paying you for the products and services that will enrich their lives. So create a marketing plan. Make sure that it is a written down marketing plan. Make sure that your marketing plans have an intended outcome. So know what you want them to do. I want them to, so I'm doing X as a marketing strategy. My podcast, I want you to ultimately listen, download, like, subscribe, rate, review, then find me on Instagram or find me somewhere else, email me, get into my world, engage with me, get on the phone with me, and ultimately maybe buy one of my services, my products, join us in a workshop, that kind of thing. So create that marketing plan. Focus on the networking, focusing on the engagement. That's where the rubber meets the road. Like, it's great to get someone to follow you on Instagram. It's great to get someone to friend you on Facebook. It's great for them to connect with you on LinkedIn. But that only gets you so far, right? The next step, get on your email list. But then engage with you. Have a conversation. Because that's the only way that, well, that's not true. Because I have sold a lot of products, low-end products, I'd say $200 or less. I've sold products just through an email or just through a website that I've driven people to. That does happen. But for those higher ticket items, you're going to need engagement. You're going to need to sit down and chat with people. And so make sure that that you focus on the networking and then have a vehicle to take them through your customer journey or their customer journey. So they get from not knowing who you are to knowing who you are to engaging with you to ultimately working with you. And then focus on social media. I think social media is important. I haven't done as much with social media in prior years as I have this year. Starting last year, but really this year, I am super engaged in social media. I think it's an important way, especially as we've been locked down and not being able to do as many in-person or any in-person events. Social media is a way to find people and to engage with people and to move them along. But don't get overwhelmed by it. Like if you're thinking, oh my God, I need to be everywhere. They're telling me I need to be everywhere. You don't. Pick one. Just pick one and start somewhere. And then engage and be intentional and frequent about it. Don't post once a month and expect any kind of engagement. But you don't have to post 20 times a day either. So find something that works with you, for you. Find where your people are on which social media sites, and then engage with them and have a plan for it. Like have a reason and a journey that you want them to go on. And then I'm going to go to build your email list. So friends and followers and likes and connections are not, I mean, those are great. Fabulous. Love that. I said that on last week's episode. It's a great place to start, but it's not going to get you to the end game of where you want to go, as well as getting names and email addresses, which, by the way, you own. You don't own your followers on Facebook. You don't own your followers on Instagram. You don't own your connections in LinkedIn. As we saw the day that Facebook and Instagram went down for 4 hours or 6 hours, you had no access to that. So, but you do have access to email marketing. You do have access to those emails that you have collected. And those are yours. You own those. So no one can take those away from you, as long as you've got them in a CRM that you own and that works for you. So part of what I learned from the outage is I really need to focus more on driving people to my email list with irresistible offers that I have. And so I'm really making a conscious effort to do that because I really want to build my email list. Your email list is such a huge asset to your business. I mean, if you're ever going to sell your business, one of the first things they're going to say is like, how many customers do you have? And then how many email addresses? I mean, how many prospects do you have? It is a huge, huge asset. And I can't tell you how many times, like I was just on a live, Instagram live 15 minutes ago, and one of the guys on there said, yeah, I've got a list, but I don't do anything with it. What a missed opportunity. So grow your list and then use your list. Use tools out there to email, communicate with your list. And once I said bring them along the customer journey to get closer and closer to you to build your business. Hey, it's Janet, and I am here to share my obsession with email marketing. I've always focused on building my list. Every year I have a goal of how many names and email addresses I want to add to my list. I have studied email marketing best practices for many, many years, but it was only until January of last year that I really started putting all that knowledge and all of those emails into practice to really build my business. And let me tell you something, it's working. So that combined with many, many of my clients who keep telling me, I know I need to do email marketing, but I'm not doing anything with it. I know I need to, but for whatever reason, I am not doing it. So I want to say that stops right now. I'm making it my personal mission to make sure that that stops right now. And you know how that stops? It's by taking the first step. So I want to invite you to join me for a half-day email marketing and automation Zoom workshop. In this workshop, it's a workshop. You will actually learn the best practices of email marketing and automation. Then you will put that into actual practice, creating emails and automations. So if now is the time to finally maximize on your email list, or even just build that list and learn how to maximize on it, join me at the workshop. There's a link below, or if you're following me on Instagram, there's a link in my bio. Learn more, come join me. Let's finally get that email list that you have growing and put it into action. I'll see you there. All right, create constant content consistently. I love to create content. That's why I'm doing lives and I'm doing clubhouses, which aren't recorded, so I don't know if you can really call that content. But I have a podcast, so obviously I'm creating content every week with that. Like I said, I'm doing lives. I do blog posts. I write articles. I have online courses. I have workshops that I do. I love to continuously create content. And it doesn't need to be unbelievably daunting. It's funny how you start thinking about creating content and doing, let's say, just do some videos, get on and talk about what you know and what you do and what you've seen and what your clients' experiences have been. That's content right there. So consistently create great content. And then another one for me, follow up on leads. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people and they're like, yeah, I get leads, but I don't do anything with them. I was on a call. So it's Friday afternoon. This is usually a fun Friday. It was fun, but it wasn't a regular fun Friday, because I was on a Zoom education thing all day. Let's see. I made a note that one of the people said, leads have a 3-day lifespan. I don't know if that's technically accurate or statistically accurate, but I love that. Leads have a 3-day lifespan. So if someone comes into your world and says, I'm interested in what you have, 3 days from now, they may not care. Someone else said, which I thought was really, really insightful, once you've talked to somebody and you've helped them identify their problem and the fact that you could solve their problem, if you don't swoop in and solve their problem, guess what? You've just opened the door for someone else to. Like, you've helped them identify that they've got a problem. And if you're not going to fill that, they're going to go find somebody else who will, right? They're just opening up the door to the competition. So follow up. That could be an email campaign. That could be a phone call. But I just can't stress enough. Like, we work so hard to get engagement. We work so hard to get people to figure out who we are and know, like, and trust us. And then we ignore them by not following up. So absolutely follow up. And then the last thing I'll say is, that's not going to be the last thing. So before I go into the last thing I was going to say, I'm going to talk a little bit about sales, because sales is a huge component of it. So we work on marketing and we work on identifying and getting in front of people. And then the sales conversation happens. And then we're like, oh, holy cow, what am I going to do? And then we freeze. And then we get all cray about what am I going to say and how do I ask them for the money and all of that. So I will start with some high level, and then we'll go, I don't know whether go super specific, but start with just asking questions. Start with just being intensely curious about another human being. Find out what their challenges are by asking them questions. You know, my dad, one of the best sales guys in the whole world, he just loved to ask people questions. And he used to say, people love to talk about themselves. And don't we know that? All right, don't we know that? So if you're ever in a situation where you're like, I don't know what to say next, just ask a question, because people love to talk about themselves. And use that conversation to identify things that are challenges to people, that are things that you solve, that your product or service solves. So identify those things. And then I would say what most people do in what I'll call the sales conversation, I like to call it the service conversation, because I think selling is serving. But in that conversation, I hear this a lot. So one of my clients will say to me, I'm in the conversation and I've talked to the person and they've identified that they want to lose weight, and I have weight loss products. I don't, but I'm just using this as an example. And so I've identified that, we're having the conversation. I gained 10 pounds over COVID, over the last year and a half and the pandemic. And I would really love to get that weight off. And so they immediately go into, well, use my product. Whether it's, they immediately go into, this is my product and this is how it works. And it's X number of dollars and blah, 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 which is fine. And that's what most people do. And that works some of the time. But I'm going to let you in on one of my sales secrets. It's not really that much of a secret, but not very many people do it, so it's kind of like a secret. When someone identifies to me that they want to make more money in their business, then they want to take their business to the next level, that they want to, hire a team to grow their business, whatever they've identified as the problem that they have, and I know I can solve it, before I launch into how I can solve it and what that would look like and how they can work with me, I might say something like, tell me more. And they might say, well, I'm not sleeping at night because I don't know where, my next dollar's coming from, or I don't have enough money to do X, Y, and Z, or whatever it is. I'm really wanting to take my business to the next level, and that's my desire. So I would say, tell me more about that. And they might say, well, they might go into a little bit more explanation of what that is. And then I might say, well, what's that look like for you? Well, it would mean that I could do this, this, and this. And then I might say, well, what would that mean to you? What would that mean to your life? Lifestyle? What would they mean to your family, to your children, to your spouse, to your parents, to what would that mean to your life? And I go and I ask those questions till I get to the point where I'm getting to the emotion. What would it be like to lose those 10 pounds? What would it be like to put on those jeans that you haven't been able to wear for 6 months or 12 months or 18 months? How would you feel? What would that free you up to do? What would that, and really get to the emotional response. Because once you see or hear that they're envisioning it, they're looking at it, they're in those pants and they're feeling freaking fabulous about themselves. That's the time where people will say, yeah, I'm ready. And they won't even ask you what it costs. They'll just say, how do I work with you? And you sign them up. It's a lot harder if you don't get them to that emotion. But getting them to that emotion, I do this all the time with my clients. I get them to, what's your life going to be like when you're no longer worried about money? What's your life going to be like when your business is turning such a profit that you can do X, Y, and Z, buy a boat, give to, be much more of a philanthropist, whatever it is for them. But I get people to the point where they're sharing with me what it would mean to them, to their lives, and how it would impact their lives. And once they see that, the sale is a lot easier because they're ready to go. And then, okay, so that's my sales secrets for the day. That's my sales thought processes. Don't be afraid of sales, because you are doing what you do because it serves other people. People need what you have. People need your gifts. And it's your responsibility to get out there and provide them. So that's my mindset around sales. The last thing I will leave you with in my little mini Build Your Business Plan today is analyzing and revising. That means going back to each of the steps we talked about. Go back and look at your target market. Has it changed? Has your target market changed in the last 18 months, where so many things about our world has changed in the last 18 months or the last 6 months? Go look at your products. Like, analyze the products. Are they serving? Do they still provide a solution to the problems or the challenges of my target market? Like, things have changed. So go back and look at that. Really go back and analyze your marketing strategies. It's one of the reasons I ask you to have an intended outcome, because if you have an intended outcome, you know whether your marketing strategies are doing what you want them to do or not. It's pretty easy to figure that out. So periodically go back to your marketing strategies and look at what's working, what's not working, what to change, what to keep, what to pitch, what you need to no longer do. So do that in your marketing. And that goes to social media and to the networking pieces. Like, really look at what you're doing in each individual marketing strategy and figure out what's working and what's not. There's so many great analytical tools out there to help you analyze what's working and not working, email and online and all of that. So utilize those to really, like I said, make sure you're spending your time on the things that are working and not. I know a lot of entrepreneurs don't even look at the analytics, so they don't really know. I asked the question, they're like, I don't really know. Money's not coming in, but I don't know why. So use analytics there. Use analytics on your email marketing campaigns. So there's some great tools that allow you to figure out what's working and what's not working, why people are opening them, or people even getting the emails. Is there a large bounce rate? There's the click-through rate, first the open rate, then the click-through rate. Do I need to reevaluate my subject lines, my offers? All of those you should be analyzing. Every email that you send out, every campaign, you should be going back and analyzing and figuring out what's working and what's not working. creating content consistently. So analyzing and revising, like, what do people need? What are some of the maybe new problems that people have come up with, your target market has come up with? I created a number of different offers and things through this whole pandemic because a lot of people that I was working with, they haven't been able to leave their house, or people couldn't even go to work. I mean, I worked with a number of hairdressers and massage therapists and clients who their business shut down for months. And so how do we react to that, and how do we pivot around that? So we created some new content, we created some new products. So analyze and revise that as well. And let's see. So next was follow up on leads. So just analyze how effectively you're doing that. And then sales. Once again, sales. How are your sales conversations going? Look at your conversion rate, and start to look at, like I said, what's resonating with people and what is not resonating with people. All right, so I just felt compelled because of a number of things that I've been asked by my clients recently, is to just kind of let's figure out what the business plan that they can implement. So a wrap up of mini building your business plan with just some of the thoughts that I've had. And this all comes from conversations that I've had with some of my clients in the last couple of weeks. And I kind of wanted to do either a piecemeal here, and here. And like I said, I will put links below to deeper dives into a bunch of these topics from other podcasts I've done. But I kind of wanted to do a one business plan episode to just kind of talk you through the entire process, and then you can go do deeper dives in any of the subjects that you want to. So thanks for listening. I appreciate you, and I'll be back next week with another exciting episode of the Breakthrough Your Profit Ceiling podcast. Have a great day.